am not, I'm not the coach kind of approach on this one. I want to approach this from a business operator's perspective. And if you are not paying any attention, I will give you this overall. The business plan that we do is over the years, I've realized this one thing. It has got nothing to do with planning to what you're going to do in 2024. The big part of the business plan is not saying these are the things I'm going to do. In fact, it is the opposite. I will tell you the prioritization exercise is actually talking about things that you're not going to do, right? If the reason I'm going to show you this one-page plan and give you these little boxes to write into, there is no other reason than actually making it a focused and prioritized exercise. Because if you can get to the feeling, the emotion, and the clarity of actually only doing the things that you wrote in these little boxes, you will win so big because new things are going to happen in 2024. Markets are going to change, economy is going to change, litigation is going to change. We got to give some space for all of that. So our job is not to do more. Our job is to do what is designed, because to do great things, we must do fewer things. All right. To do great things, we must do fewer things. So I'm going to give you this doc that you will need. And we're going to get started. All right. So here's the one thing that I will share. I'm going to go a little over, but I promise you at the end of this time, all you have to do is kind of work with me on this. Now, two things as you get the doc. Number one, when you get the doc, you can either print it out and write, which would be okay. You can also, thank you, Dave, Mr. Kolakowski, crushing it, or you can write in it just in a PDF format. Either is okay because it has enabled kind of the inline PDF thing to write in it. So either of those will work. So just FYI, but it'll be good to write overall. Now, you could also do it the third way. And the third way is just watch me go through it. And then you can do this again with your team or with your friends, or you can do it after if I'm going through it, too fast. But I'll give you the sense of me going through it overall. So if you've not seen the sheet is here. That's the PDF. All right, so I'm going to get into it right now. Excited to kind of take you all through this. So you should see my little thing. If it's blurry, don't worry about it. I'm actually going to zoom in. What you're going to see is I'm going to go through each section, and I'm going to take you through why and how to think about it. So before we do any of this, maybe you can help me with something. I'm going to go off camera for a second. I'm going to remove spotlight. Could you all do me a favor? If you're not driving or operating in heavy machinery right now, what I would really appreciate if you could do for maybe 30 seconds is to just please, this is not a woo-woo thing. Just follow with me. We're planning for what we're going to do next year. Just take a second, take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath, close your eyes. Just take a deep breath, close your eyes. This is not woo-woo. Just take a deep breath, close your eyes. Long inhale, take a deep breath. Let it out. Take another deep breath. Let it out. One last one, okay? Just get grounded on where we are. We're planning our next year to change our lives. Take a deep breath. Okay, let it out. All right, good. Okay, good spot. Smile. You must be feeling better, which is good. All right, let's jam. So I'm going to take you through this exercise, and this essentially has 1 page of paper. I promise you, as you go through this, you will feel really good in this entire process, and I'll take you just through this one piece of paper. It's front and back. The front is actually setting the sights for where we're going. The back is working through a little bit of numbers. Okay. And I'll take you through all of it. Nothing for you to do except follow along with me. So it's very hard to start planning without you knowing why you're doing all of this. So I like thinking about this from the perspective of my purpose. And here's what I'm going to do. You may not get to the point where you say, oh, I know exactly what it is. Next couple of things are going to be the hardest to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share mine with you. That way you can have it create some inspiration overall. All right. So when I think about my purpose, first I think about it in 4 aspects. I think about me, my team, my family, and my legacy. And the reason why you only have this small a box is I want you to actually make it so succinct. Otherwise, you're just going to write pages and pages. And I will tell you my purpose. My purpose is to find my zone of genius. I want to spend more time in my zone of genius, which means I want to find it so I know exactly what it is, and I want to work in it. And I'll tell you why this is important when we go through it. If it's a little fuzzy, I'll make it a little bigger. Thank you, Nick. It'll get bigger in a second. So number 1 is finding your zone of genius, right? That's for me. For my team, this is a filter. For my team is, hey, I want to change lives, which I want to give people great opportunities. And I want to do good work. So it doesn't matter if you're a solo agent or a team. It doesn't matter. I want, like, what is, you have people that you're working with. We are a real team overall. You want to make sure you know this overall, right? Third, from a family perspective, I'll tell you what I want. What I want is I want to capture special moments. I want to capture special moments. And that's a big goal for me. That's why I'm doing this, right? It's a big goal for me. Rock in there. And the last but not least is the legacy. And the legacy is what happens, what do you leave when you are not here anymore, right? And the legacy for me is this, and I'll tell you the truth, is to build assets for the future. Now, you may think, Sharon, that's really interesting, but why did you write all of these things? And let me give you a reason. The why is important because now let's say you're filled with an opportunity or an opportunity is being presented to you. Here's what happens. You say, hey, does this opportunity allow me to live in my zone of genius? Yes. Great. No, I'm not doing it. Does this opportunity allow me to change lives and do good work? Yes. Great. No, not doing it. Does this opportunity of taking my son... Well, does this opportunity for taking my son to go watch the Raiders play the Chiefs, is it a special moment? Yes, great. Otherwise, not doing it. Is this opportunity that I get to actually build assets for the future? It takes away my fear overall. That's great. So now I actually have a filtering mechanism for everything that I'm thinking. The problem for most of us is we just don't have any mechanism to filter anything. And since we have no mechanism to filter anything, what happens is that we say yes to too many things, or we say no to the things that we shouldn't say no to. Super important. This is the most important part of this is the filter. If you have to write a lot, you don't have the filter. There's not enough ways to actually have the filter. Chiefs did beat the Raiders, buddy, last weekend, or 2 weekends ago. That was no fun. We were there. So that's part one. Let me give you part two of this puzzle, which is I'm going to take you through this and you're going to be like, wow, that was really simple. I want you to unpack the 3-1-90. Let me explain the 3-1-90 to you. If you're ever talking to if you're recruiting somebody to be on your team, if you're helping to coach somebody, the 3-1-90 is one of the best ways to get somebody to bring their ideas to life. And let me walk you through what the 3-1-90 is. The 3-1-90 is 3 for the 3-year vision, 1 for the 1-year target, and 90 for the 90-day action. Now, I don't know if somebody else came up with this. I came up with a 3-1-90 because I wanted something to work on, but most people don't realize the power of the 3-1-90. And I'll take you through it, for example, right? So in this 3-1-90 idea, you're going to see 5 domains. You've got health, you've got brand, relationships, income, and wealth. Those are what I wrote down. If you actually get most of these, you're going to be in a good place overall. So let me tell you about my health. My 3-year vision for my health, right? This is me personally, is I want to have an average HRV of 100. Right now, my average HRV is like 32, which is terrible. I could do way better with that. But I want in 3 years, my average HRV to be 100. But here, now, literally most of the time, I'd like to take, by the way, HRV is called heart rate variability. It doesn't matter. You can say I want to lose, 15 pounds in 3 years. You can say I want to run a mile in under 6 minutes. It doesn't matter what it is. I want a 3-year vision associated with this. But HRV for me is like I wear a Whoop band and it gives me the heart rate variability number, right? That's what's important about this. But here's how you get the 1-year target. Most of the time, I just cut this 3-year vision by a third or by a half. And so I believe that in a year, I can get to an average HRV of 75. If I actually hustled and did the right things this year, I could get an average HRV of 75. Cool. Now, if that's the case, then what is my 90-day action? My 90-day action, I talked to my coach about this. He said something great. He said, hey, you only have to focus on 3 things for the next 90 days. He said, you want to focus on your sleep, you want to focus on hydration, and you want to focus on meditation. He said, Sharon, if you do sleep, hydrate, and meditate, you will get to your HRV as soon as possible. And I was like, okay, cool. So now did you see what I did there? I took a 3-year vision, I chunked it up into a 1-year target, and I gave myself a 90-day action. But I got to do it for every domain of my life, right? I got to do it for every domain of my life. By the way, a lot of you have I actually hit an HRV of 112. I know this is very possible. I know I have friends who are not that committed, who have high HRVs. That just means they can handle and process stress so much better. Again, this is me. I want you to see it. Second, brand. right? I'm going to take it to my brand. So let's say I was a real estate agent in the local marketplace. Let's say, I would say, I want to be the number one agent brand in my market. If that is the goal for 3 years, now I need to think, what is going to be my 1 year target? The best part here is you're just being with a lot of clarity. What is the 1 year target? The 1 year target is, hey, I want to be in the top 3 agent brands in my market. Because now if I can look at and be like, hey, here are my top 3 agent brands in the market, and that's a good 1 year target, I feel pretty good. Well, now how do I actually what is my 90-day action to get there? Well, I'll make up a 90-day action. The 90-day action is if I can get 10,000 impressions on my brand in the next 90 days in Q1, then I've had a good start. What does 10,000 impressions mean? Don't overthink this. I want to now create an action for me. So maybe I make more videos. Maybe I boost some posts. Maybe I send out more emails. Whatever it is, I know that if I got 10,000 impressions in Q1, it'll start to get me there. All right? Take the 3 year vision, dial it into a third of that is a 1 year target, and then it's a 90-day action. Let me give you the one with relationships, right? I want to go every domain of my life. The relationship is, in relationships, I want to have, I tell my family this, we want to have 10 epic memories. 10 epic memories in 3 years. 10 amazing memories. Now, if I need 10 epic memories in 3 years, what do I need in year 1? I need 3 epic memories. If I need 3 epic memories in year 1, where do I go next? What is my 90-day action? Super simple. My family has been talking about getting my children skiing, so I'm going to plan ski trip. That's it. Now I know very clearly what I need to do to make this 3190 come to life. All right, so let's take the next one, which is income. I want to do, let's say in 3 years, I want to do 1 million gross income, gross commissions. Let's just say I wanted to do that. That means my year 1 target in 1 year, I'm going to cut that in half or by a third. I want to do 350K GCI. Cool. Now I've got a 3-year target, and then I've got a 1 year target, 3 year vision, a 1 year target. What do I do now? What do I do the next 90 days that will guarantee that I get there? What is my 90-day action? Well, great. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to do 20 open houses in the next 90 days, and I'm going to set 40 appointments. Again, I'm totally making this up, but you're seeing how you can create the actions that get you the result. Now let's go into the wealth stuff. And by the way, we are in a room where we talk about money. Talking about money is a really positive thing. Let's talk about money. So my wealth target is, hey, I want to have, I'm making up this number, right? I want to have 1 million liquid. I want to have $1 million in liquid assets. Plus I want to have $10,000 in passive income. Miss Christina Weiss is here. She's the master of the wealth creation and the passive income stuff, which is awesome. Maybe I can talk her into doing a session for us at some point. But now that you have the 3-year vision, how do you actually make that a 1 year target? So now I'm just going to take that and make it a 1 year target where I say, hey, maybe I need to have 333K liquid, plus I need to have 3K per month in passive income. I've set myself a really specific target. Now you may say, Sharon, how do I get this? Well, I'll tell you how you get this. What do you do in the next 90 days? Well, there's a lot of methods on it. Maybe you can do, maybe you can go buy an investment property. Maybe you can, maybe you can do affiliate marketing. But I'm going to say what you do is you need 10 attraction meetings. If you got 10 attraction meetings, you're going to get there. You're going to start to get that $3,000 a month in passive income. So now all I wanted you to see on this one is I wanted you to see how you can get a 3-year vision, break it down into a 1 year target, and then get a 90-day action, right? So let me pause. If going through this exercise, if this all made sense, just give me a 3-1-90 in the chat, 3-1-90. So I feel like at least a few of you feel good about it overall. Okay, cool. 3-1-90s, lots of 3-1-90s, feeling pretty good. Awesome. Thank you. Right? Doing the 3-1-90 is probably the fastest, easiest way to get insane clarity on what you're trying to actually do. So super good. We're all in a good spot on the 3-1-90, right? Fantastic. Awesome. God, you guys are so fun. Thank you so much for like playing along and making this work. I would also love for you to use next time you're in a coaching situation, next time you're working with a friend, next time you're working with bringing someone on your team, next time you're thinking about attracting somebody, just ask us, by the way, saying, oh, what is your 10-year vision in life? Like that's weird. Right? If you say like on the purpose, if you say, oh, my why, oh, my why are my kids? Like a lot of times people will say things like, my why are my kids? Well, that's fine. That's your why is your kids and why is your family. That's interesting, but it doesn't allow for an operating filter to run your life. That is a very coach-oriented way of saying things, but then it all breaks down because you have no way to operate your life. You want the filter to be really specific. So if your filter is, hey, special moments is a filter, I get to go to this game. Is that a special moment? Yes. Then I get to actually operationalize it. The problem is we just say, oh, I want a special life. I want to do work that makes my heart sing. Like no one cares about any of that. You're setting yourself up for insane failure when you can't put something very simple in a box where you can actually use that to filter against what you want to do in life, right? That's what's super powerful. So anything I've noticed that anything outside of 3 years is hard for this exercise. So a 3-year vision is good. Chunking down to a 1-year target is good. And then having a 90-day plan around that. All right. So that's overall. Now, here's the next part. The next part is I want to take you through something called the force multipliers. I think about this a lot. And these force multipliers are the things that I can do in my life that if I did this one thing, everything becomes easier, right? There's a really, as many of you know, really good book by Gary Keller, The One Thing, right? How is that? Can I do this one thing that makes almost everything easier or almost irrelevant? So what is my force multiplier right now? I do the same exact domains for my force multiplier. So let me give you the domains that I'm going to write this at. So my domains are going to be health, brand, same exact thing that we talked about above, health, brand, relationships, income, same thing as above, and wealth, right? So now what I want to do is I want to come up with one thing that I can do in each category that if I know that I do this, I have this habit, I have this plan, I have this action, I have this project. If I did that, everything becomes significantly easier. So for my health, I know what I need is I need a very clear AM, PM routine. If I had a good AM, PM routine, then I know that hitting my target goal of 75 HRV is going to be very possible. For brand, I know that I'm wanting to get 10,000 impressions. So for my brand, I know that I probably need, I'm just making this up, so I want you to see this. I need a YouTube plan. So I'm just saying, hey, I need a YouTube plan. If I did that, I'll have a force multiplier in my business. Cool. Relationships. What do I need? Well, as a family, we decided to do weekend brunches. So if I can do a weekend brunch and make it a part of my life, then I know that I'm doing the right thing every single weekend. From income perspective, what do I need? I got to create $333,000 of gross commission income. So I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to hire an ISA because I know that I don't have any capacity to set more appointments for myself, right? I want you to start to see this, right? And from a wealth perspective, I will tell you that unless you're in a community of wealth, right? Community of wealth creation, it's very, very hard to actually be in community with people. So I'm part of a mastermind group, by the way, called the Passive Income Mastermind. So I'm going to say join Passive Income Mastermind, right? ISA, a lot of you asking questions. ISA is an inside sales agent. All that it is somebody who is, calling, texting, and emailing on your behalf to set appointments for you, right? You should know this, by the way. So important. So good so far. So did you see that how I just didn't come up with, here, let me come up with some force multipliers. They're very, very specific. Here's one for health. Here's one for brand. Here's one for relationships. Here's one for income. And here's one for wealth. Now, the crazy part is the reason I only put these on is I'm eliminating everything else. I don't want anything else. This is my only priority. The big part of the business plan is not just to do what you want to do. The business plan is also to make sure you don't do what you don't want to do. All right. All right, those are the force multipliers. So if the force multipliers make sense so far, just give me an F in the chat. So I'm like, all right, we're good on the force multipliers. Super good. So now we know exactly the format on our force multipliers and we know that we can work through it, right? So awesome. Force multipliers feel good. You got the 5 Fs. It's awesome. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for doing that. And the idea here is you have to come up with the one thing on your health, on your brand, on your relationships, on your income, on your wealth that says, if I do this project, it completely changes how I can do things. So for me, the health was have an AM PM routine. The brand was build a YouTube plan. The relationships was make sure I have weekend brunches. The income was hire an ISA to call, right? And my wealth was join the Passive Income Mastermind because this is the mastermind that I'm part of, and I just put it in there for y'all to see. All right, so now I'm getting into the nitty gritty of this one. I will tell you this. Let me ask you this question. Do you believe that if you woke up tomorrow morning and your database was double the size, just give me a one if it's true and zero if it's not true. If your database was double the size, do you think it makes your business easier? It makes your business easier. If you double the size of your database, do you think it makes your business easier? One if it's true, zero if it's not true. If it makes your business easier. Okay, cool. It's like most of us think that if we double the size of our database, it will make our business easier, right? So if you have 1,000 people in your database today and you double the size of your database, then it should make your business easier. So like your community stuff is super important. So I'll make up these numbers, right? So let's say your database today was 3,000 people. And let's say your goal was to make it 6,000 in 12 months. The question is, how do you actually grow the size of your database? I call this idea to build the list and to serve the list. Been talking about this for 10 plus years now, to build the list and to serve the list. Now, I'll give you some ideas on how you can actually build and grow your database. So a lot of people talking about like how do you reach out to the database, etc. I'll show you how to do that in one second. By the way, if you've not done any of that, you should look at my deal of the week training. Every single agent should utilize the deal of the week idea. If someone can actually, I'll find my podcast page on that. In fact, I'll actually do it while I'm talking to you. You want to, if you don't have a good method for actually nurturing your database, I would use the deal of the week system. I actually built a podcast and give it all away. Let me actually find it for you, and then you can use it. All right, here you go. I found it. It's fun when you can like find stuff fast. All right. So the question here is, hey, what is the timeline for growth? The timeline for growth is 12 months. How can you actually double the size of your database in the next 12 months? So let me give you some ideas on how do you actually double the size of your database in the next 12 months, right? So let me give you the first one. The first way I would do that is you can create some Zoom events. So if you said, hey, we're going to do a Zoom event with our clients on, with the clients and someone from One Real Mortgage on what's happening with the lending environment, it's good. People actually sign up for this event and you get to grow your database. Right? That's good. Link not working. Put that back in for you. Try that again. If not, go find episode 175 on my podcast and you'll be able to get that. All right. So that's number one. Cool. Here's number two. Another way to grow your database. I will tell you another way to grow your. I'll give you 5 different ways, and you can kind of work through it. Hey guys, you're super smart. Episode 175 on the podcast. Don't worry about it. All right. I'll give it to you later. Here's the next one. Is how else do you grow it? I'm saying local Facebook ads. So let me actually give you, for those of you who don't know how to run local Facebook ads, let me actually explain to you how you should actually do this. This is how you should do it. If you're posting a post every single day of the week, so let's say you post a post Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You should look at all the analytics on the weekend, and I guarantee you'll notice one post just had significantly better performance. All you do is you put $5 behind that one post. That's all you have to do. That's it. That's as simple as that. You do one post every day, figure out the post that performed well, take that one post, put $5 behind it. Because now the audience has told you that it doesn't matter what you think is right. The audience has told you is what they like. The one post that performed the best, show it to more people in your local market. That's how that works. All right. You can do a boost. You can do an ad. Don't matter. YouTube that, right? So you actually get to put money behind that idea. If you're really technical, I would run an ad. If you're not technical, I would do a boost. All right. Here's number 3. You should do some community events. If you wanted to grow your database, you should do community events. And when you say, Sharon, what is a community event? I would do a recycling drive. I would do an electronics drive. I would do a canned food drive. All of those, you know why? Because they're free. You can do it for free. You can go to each door by door. You can get them to sign up on this. And then you can do that. And then suddenly you now have built your database based on people that have actually signed up to do those things. If you did 3 events in 2024, you will have significantly number of people that have opted into your list. All right, good. Next, I'm a big fan of doing raffles with local businesses. By the way, a lot of you are wanting to do things like, hey, I'm going to do a local market barbecue shop review. I'm going to go review the local bakery. I mean, you can do all of that, by the way. None of that matters unless you put some weight behind it. The days of actually going out and becoming the local market guru by just doing these local market videos with local market businesses, I will tell you, is a failing strategy. A lot of people have tried it, but very few people can do it well. What you want to do is you want to do a business collaboration with all of them. Because when you do a business collaboration, you can say, hey, I'm here with Sharon running our local pizza joint. Everyone that comes in here in the next 3 days and uses the code free Sharon gets 10% off their pizza or gets a gift. Now that makes sense because you now have a business collaborative purpose behind actually doing that interview. Just showing up and telling somebody's story on why they started the hot dog stand is interesting at best. No one has that kind of time to watch your 92-minute special on YouTube. You want to create a business association and a partnership around it, right? The things that happened 8 years ago when you could do those things, really good. Jason Ferris at Fresias did a great job, but he built all these relationships. But now no one has 45 minutes to sit down and get a tour of your pizza joint. Don't do that, right? I will tell you that. But you want to do a business collaboration around it. Last part of it is you want to do some kind of ISA circle prospecting. By the way, if you've not seen my circle prospecting playbook, it's in Real Academy. You could actually click on it. I give you the entire focus. I give you the scripts. I give you what your ISA should actually say. By the way, in some states, your ISA has to be licensed. In some states, they don't have to be. Please check on your state rules to make sure you're following the rules. But if somebody is calling on your behalf around the areas in which you have sold or in which you have buyers, it's really powerful because that's what's working right now because they have a reason to call and it's not just a dumb cold call, right? Super, super important. All right, let me pause. The idea here is for you to take and figure out how to build and grow your database. If you did nothing in 2024, if you did nothing in 2024 except actually grow your list and double the size of your database, if you did nothing else, you win. If you did nothing else, because now you now have the ability to reach people that you've never actually reached before, which is super fun. All right. Good so far. Circle prospecting is inside Real Academy, and if you don't have that, I will put it in the pod. I'll give you guys a link to it at the end. All right, good, awesome. Let me find. I'll find the circle prospecting link for you. Good. I should have these fun resources ahead of me. All right, good. So now, you should probably be the last part of the page, and you're like, all right, Sharon, how do I actually have monthly focus around this stuff? So let me explain how this works. This is the easiest part of the puzzle, right? I'll explain a few questions in the chat after I finish this. The easiest part of the puzzle is to take the things that you have already written that you said you were going to do and put them in your monthly focus areas. Don't make up new ones. So in January, right? So in January, what I need to do is I said very clearly, my goal for January is I said I was going to do 20 open houses and set 40 appointments. That's all my singularity of focus for January is, right? And if you notice up top, I said this, I was going to do 20 open houses and 40 appointments, right? I was going to do 20 open houses and 40 appointments. What else did I say I was going to do? I was going to say plan a ski trip. Great. Let me go plan a ski trip. So February is ski week in California. I'm going to say family ski trip. Do you notice that I'm only doing the things that I've already said that I was going to do? But the family trip is a ski trip, right? The family trip is a ski trip, and it gets hard. By the way, my screen may get a little fuzzy, and so I'll refocus it in a minute, all right? I may also say here, hey, maybe I'll do some kind of buyer mastery webinar. Good? All right, here's number 3. In March, I said I was going to do, we talked about this. I said I want to do 10 attraction meetings. Did you see this? I'm going to do 10 attraction meetings. All I'm doing is I'm taking the things that I already said I was going to do and put it into my strategy. So like, cool. I'm going to do 10 attraction meetings. So in March, hey, my goal is to somehow build out 10 attraction meetings. Now my focus is super clear. Now, if you're really crazy and you want to do a 75 hard or something, go ahead and do a 75 hard. I'm just making it up because it's March. It's probably getting warmer. You can work out outside, all of that good stuff. All right. April, what did I say I was going to do? I said, hey, to do this, I was going to hire an ISA. Awesome. I'm going to hire an ISA in April because that way you don't feel stressed that you have to like hire this ISA. Give yourself an entire month to hire this ISA because this ISA is an asset in your business. And then the next month, do the circle prospecting. Here's the best part. All this now is very approachable. It's very approachable, right? It's very approachable because you don't have to be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do 27 things and figure out my business and figure out how to run ads and figure out how to play Scrabble and figure out how to do the Rubik's Cube. You don't have to do all of that. You just do that one thing because we know that focus is more important than intelligence, right? And in June, you're like, you're gonna run local Facebook ads in June. So you have a whole month to figure out how to do it, which is great. So now if you look, if you just did these 6 things in the first 6 months of the year, you know that you're going to win. You know that you're going to have great focus because you've already chosen to do this. Now let's do the rest of the year. So I'm going to go to July, August, September, October, November, and December. I like putting a plan together because I know that if I don't get that thing done, I have actually not worked on the stuff well. All right. So maybe in July, I'm going to do a YouTube plan because I said that was a big part of my focus. In August, this is back to school. So I'm going to do a little father-son trip before back to school. And in September, we're going to do a back to school movie night in our community where we actually do this to grow our database. Right? Super simple. Super simple. Good? Okay. Awesome. Now, I'm going further. Now in October, what am I going to do in October? All y'all know what you're going to do in October. Do you know what you're going to do in October? I'll tell you what you're going to do in October. You're going to come to Rise and you're going to hang with me. So hang with Sharon at Rise. Your October, don't worry about your October. You're just going to hang out with me in October. All right. I can tell you where Rise is, but it's going to be fun. Okay. November. What are you going to do in November? You're like, man, I just went to Rise. I got a bunch of ideas. Right? In November, I'm going to implement stuff from Rise. Implement Rise ideas. Right? And in December, what do we do every December? We get our database together and we do a CMA project so that we can do tax basis stuff, whatever. By the way, I'll do a CMA project, playbook for all of you at Real at some point, but maybe you do a CMA project in December. But now what I've done is I've given myself a 12-month plan associated with all of this, right? So I know that if I only do these things and did nothing else, I have a really good chance of hitting my goals. Because what did I do here? I literally took each of the goals that I said what I was going to do. I was like, hey, I'm going to do my AM PM routine. I'm going to do my YouTube thing. I'm going to do my weekend brunch. I'm going to do a higher ISA. I knew exactly what this. I'm going to run some local Facebook ads. I'm going to do some community events. I'm going to do circle prospecting. I took all of those and I just put it into my monthly focus plan. Right? We try to come up with things that are so big and so unapproachable. When we can do this, you win so big by just doing this. If you did nothing else, you win. All right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to run you through the math in 1 second because I think it'll help all of you. But before I do that, give me 2 minutes. I'm going to go off a spotlight for a second. Questions, thoughts, like I'll take 5 questions. 5 questions, 5 comments, 5 thoughts. Anything is okay. You need to raise your hand though. So raise your hand. That way I know. Andy, you're up first. What's on your mind, thought, feeling, action?
Yeah, if we have time, I've got 2 quick ones. If you have time, could you cover a little bit about the distinction between income and wealth? And then also, where do you get 12 things to fill your year with? I mean, I kind of just watched you do it, but I'm looking at my list and I'm not seeing necessarily 12 things that could fill a whole month.
Okay, super great. So let's talk about both of those. Income is active money that you're generating right now. So talk about current year taxable income. I'm talking about cash flow. Wealth is you're building something for the future. That's the broad distinction. So if I were to buy an investment property, that will be wealth creation. If I were to fund my whole life policy, that would be wealth creation. If I were to joint invest in a multifamily complex with somebody, that would be wealth creation, right? So that's the wealth stuff. The wealth stuff is for the future. The income stuff is cash flow right now. So that's how I think about it. Second, how did I come up with the 12 things? What we want to do, by the way, don't try to fill all your every month. I'm looking up at the projects that I've set on this piece of paper and figuring out which one of those I want to do in which month. As soon as you put those in, you're totally cool having a bunch of open months because I guarantee you in January, you're going to get an idea And then you're going to be like, man, when am I going to do that thing? So you don't feel like you have to fill every month, but at least make sure that the key pieces get slotted into those months. So that's the answer to that. All
Got
right.
it. Thanks, Sharon.
Mr. Schramm, you're up.
Are you allowed to make changes to the plan, or will it lose focus and get you off track?
So good question. Here's my feeling around this. A lot of people talk about this. I am not a big fan of making changes to the plan, but I'm a fan of flexibility. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So Paul, I would recommend that one of the core foundations of building a plan is to not do it alone. So let's say you and TJ, I'm just making up because TJ is my bud and he's right. He's going to chat in a second. So let's say you and TJ were talking about the plan together. All that both of you should agree upon is that you should be like, hey, TJ, if I'm going to make any changes to the plan, I'm just going to get some accountability and run it by you first. That way, TJ knows that you're not sandbagging, right? So I love having some accountability around it. That way, you have to talk to somebody to get this done. So I'll give you an example of this. Let's say, so at Real, right, we have 2024 plans for hitting targets. So I'll make up some numbers. Let's say one of my plans for Real is to hit 1 million impressions on my brand this year, or to make $400 bajillion. Just making up the idea. So let's say Tamir wants to change the plan. And he's like, hey, man, I think we're going to have to change the plan from $400 bajillion to $600 bajillion. It would be good for Tamir and I to talk about that for a second, because otherwise, if you just make it up or change the idea, the original thinking around that is lost, right? So my big suggestion of changing plans is make sure you have an accountability partner. That way you can talk through the rationale with that person before you change it. TJ, you're up, my man.
Good to see you, my man. Everything good?
Hey, bud.
All right.
Bud.
Quick question for you. So if you're using this for your team or some agents that don't have a plan out there and you're trying to help them get on a plan, do you have them fill it out first, at least an overview, and then you walk them through it, or do you do it with them?
So great question. Here's my suggestion. My suggestion is one of two things. One, you do it live with them, because community drives achievement. People need to feel safe in the planning process. I will tell you the biggest goal, the reason we're doing this, why do we need to do this? We don't need to do this. The reason we're doing this is when you plan together, the energetic component of the planning is really powerful.
Yeah.
So planning in groups is really important. Never do planning by yourself. It's really, really hard to do planning by yourself because you'll always underperform your own potential. But TJ, my suggestion to you as a leader is similar, do it somewhat similarly to me on how I would do it. Is you want to give them the gift of going second. So they should not have to try to figure out what to put in a box. You should say, hey, so let me tell you about my purpose. And then you write the purpose in, and they're like, oh, I see where TJ is going with that. So if you redo the plan once for yourself and you literally show it to them, hey, I already did my plan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through this and we're going to do yours together. I'm going to share my plan with you, and then you're going to share your plan with me after. Now, they can go on your footsteps much faster.
Love it.
Cool.
We'll use it.
Awesome. What is the name of the passive income mastermind I'm talking about? I'll show you this. Go to the passive income mastermind.com. I'll find it for you in a second. Cool. Awesome. Let's do this. Great question on that, TJ. All right. Can I go to oh, Cam, you're up, man. Do that and I'll go to the next one.
Hey, Sharon. I'm just getting started in my real estate career, and this is really awesome, but I don't want to set too high of goals, and I want to be realistic in my approach. And I was wondering if you could maybe give me some guidance or some realistic goals to set for myself in the short term that you think would be normal for someone that's just starting to hit.
Awesome. So, dude, thank you so much for asking the question. This is really powerful for everybody. So there's two components from a goal setting perspective, right? Number one is a self-respect component, and number two is an activities-based component. So here's how this works. Cam, I want you to think about December 2024. You're sitting in December 2024, and you have to be really honest with yourself. And you're sitting in December 2024, and you're saying, hey, I'm looking back at this past year, and I achieved these 5 things, whatever those 5 things are, right? Hey, I made $100,000. I built my database X. I had Y brand. I got a 6-pack, and I went on a vacation, whatever it means, right? And you're looking back and you're saying, are those 5 things Do I feel good about how the year turned out with those 5 things? And you have to be really honest with yourself, right? And otherwise, what you're saying is, hey, what like you're looking for groupthink on what the right results would be. I would not do that, because at the end of the day, in 2024, December 2024, if you look back at the year and you're not happy with the progress you made, then something's majorly wrong, right? So that's the anchor that I would give. But secondly, you want an activity-based approach, which is, if you told me, hey, I want to make $14 million next year and I'm just getting in the business this year, I'd be like, okay, like the activities involved in getting that is a little difficult, because I don't know if you have the scale and the team and the resources to do those activities. So if you said, hey, how, can I have 5 real estate conversations a day? Well, if you said you can have 5 real estate conversations a day, and you had that, and I'll go to the math section in a second, you are now committing to having 5 real estate conversations a day, which feels approachable. But if I said you need to have 35 real estate conversations a day, now you're like, man, I don't think that's approachable, because if I skip one day, that means I have to do 60 conversations the next day. And I don't know how I'm going to manufacture 60 real estate conversations, right? So it's a function of both you being happy with where you are a year from now and being really honest with yourself. And 2, you feeling good that the activities that you put in place, which I'm going to show you how to do right now, are very approachable. Good? Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. All right, so let's do this, everybody. I think you guys will appreciate this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a little planning of numbers. So if you see, you should be flipped to page 2. If you don't have page 2, let's make sure we I'll drop this little link back in the chat for you, if you don't have this again. So everyone in the meeting. Yeah, is this like at least somewhat entertaining for y'all? Like a smile or a nod or something. That would be fun. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. You have a few sections on this page. You're going to see up. I'm going to zoom in. Don't worry. You're going to see section number 1. You're going to see section number 2, section number 3, section number 4, section number 5, right? All super easy to do, but we're going to start with section number 2 first. All right. We're going to start with section number 2 first. So let me take you through it. Whether you're a team or by yourself, it shouldn't matter. So let me actually take you through it. So how this works is, this is the annual dashboard. There's no math necessary on this. I'm going to take you through an exercise that I just did with the team. I'm going to give you their real numbers so you can see it. And then you can choose to do what you want to do with it. But let me give you the actual team numbers right now. So I think you'll benefit from this overall. So I talked to the team recently, and the team leader told me that she wanted to do $100 million this year, so she could be a part of the $100 million roundtable. So she said, hey, she wants to do 25 million in listings this year. Blurry screen. Sorry. I'll make it it'll get better in a second. And she's going to have the team do 75 million in buyers this year. So let's go through her stuff first. So she's on an average price point of 500,000. So she's going to roughly have to do 50 listings at 500K. This means that she's roughly converting 2/3 of her listing appointments. By the way, don't worry about if you're on a team or not. Just do yours, right? Just do yours. So if you're by yourself, just do the left column. If you have our team leader and you have the team, do both columns, right? This is just for your thinking. Just be super simple about this. So if she's converting at a 60% rate, she's going to need 75 listing appointments. She's going to need 75 appointments to actually make this work, which means out of the 75, she's going to actually listings 1. She's going to take 50 listings. Out of that, she's going to sell 50 listings. She doesn't do any buyers, so she's going to do no buyer consults, and she's going to do no buyer represented sales. So her goal right now is she wants to do that. Now her team, just so you know, her team is going to have to do, say, the similar price point. They're going to have to do 150 transactions times 500,000 to get the 75 million. They're going to go to 0 listing appointments because everything is going to go to the team leader. They're going to go to 0 listings taken. They're going to do 0 listings sold. But they're roughly going to actually only convert 50% of their buyer consultations. So let's say they do 300 buyer consultations, of which they will do 150 buyer sales, right? So think about this for a second. What I'm showing you is there's 150 plus the 50. So roughly they have to do 200 transactions this year. I wanted you to have this because there's no other way to do this goal, right? Now you can see effort. Now I want to get you all something that you probably have seen before, but I want to get you all something, what I call the daily number. Every single one of you should somehow get to the daily number. If I will tell you right now, if for those of you who tell me this, your business is going to be unpredictable. I will tell you this. If you say, "Oh, Sharon, I'm a past clients and sphere kind of person. I get all my business through referrals." First, your past clients means they're not your past clients. They're your clients, or they're your private clients. Past clients means that they're dead. They're not dead. So call them private clients, right? Don't say past clients. So if your private clients in your sphere generate that level of business, then you need to have a real conversations with them. If you just think that you're going to get business through referrals and you don't manufacture these deals, you will have a very unpredictable business. All right. Very unpredictable. So please don't do that. So every single person having this daily number is really important. So I'm going to show you how to get to this daily number. So let's do the math. The math is really simple. The math is they need to do 200 transactions for the year, right? 200 transactions. I tell you very simply on the next line, I say, hey, multiply line 1 by 59. So you take 200 times 59. This is 59. You roughly need 59 conversations to get that 200 deals, which means you're going to get 11,800 conversations. If you did 11,800 conversations, you would hit your 200 number deal. Again, this is not pure scientific math, but it's very close. If you did this, this is a guarantee that you're going to hit the numbers. All right. Now I tell you, take the next number, which is this 11,800, and you divide it by 11, because you're not working all 12 months. You're roughly working 11 months out of the year where you have kind of 3-4 weeks off. So what this means is you need roughly 1,072 appointments a month. If you divide it by 11 months. Now we need to figure out how many you need per day. So now I'm going to take 1,072 divided by 20, because I'm just going to assume that you're going to only work 20 days out of the month. The rest of the time you're taking half days, whatever, right? So this leaves us at the magic number of 53. This is 53 conversations on the entire team. On the entire team, right? So if it's 53 conversations on the entire team, so that would be 53 divided by, they've got 15 members on the team. That is roughly 3.5 conversations per agent. So Cam, in this case, you can say, hey, can I do 3.5 conversations a day? 3.5 conversations a day, win. Now, you may say, well, what the heck is a conversation? People are like, oh, I want a quality conversation. I want a really specific real estate conversation. Like, don't overthink these conversations. But I will tell you what is a real estate conversation and what is not. All right. You can call a client that you helped 3 years ago. And if you don't talk real estate, that is not a real estate conversation. All right. You have to talk about real estate. And talking about real estate involves 2 things. You want to talk about what and when. It's not 4 minutes or 18 minutes or 27 minutes or anything. You want to talk about what and when. You want to talk about what, meaning what they want or what someone else wants or what you want. And you would say, Cam would call me and say, hey, Sharon, hope you're doing well. I thought about you, want to run something by you. Hey, Cam, so great to hear from you. Awesome. Hey, I promised my clients who are looking to buy a home in Laguna Beach that I would call every single one of my clients that I'd work with to see if they had heard anybody who was thinking about selling or even just renting their home in Laguna. I'm not putting any pressure on you. You don't have to give me any names, but I promised my clients that I would do that. My question for you is, have you heard anybody that's thinking about selling or even renting their home in Laguna? Stop. I'm talking about the what, right? Now, if they say, well, they give you the answer. They say, well, hey, next year, Cam, I may be interested in buying, a multifamily building. Oh, you would? Where? Now they're talking about next year. When? What and when? If you don't get to a what or a when, it does not count as a real estate conversation. Okay. Just calling a client or calling your SOI does not count. You have to talk about a what or a when. Now, there's a good point here by Chris. He's like, do you have to set an appointment? I don't think so. But if you don't talk about a what and a when, you will never get next steps. Good? Oh, awesome. All right. So I'm going back to my slides here. So I gave you the daily number. So in this case, this team's per agent daily number is 3.5, right? So tell me this. Do you think it is asking too much for every agent on this team to have a good 3.5 conversations on a daily basis? Do you think that's a difficult ask? Yes or no? No, absolutely not. It is not a difficult ask. You know, that is a super reasonable ask, right? And so, Cam, this is what you need to think about. Hey, can I have 3.5 conversations a day? Worst case scenario, I'm gone for 3 days. Can I have 10 the next day? Yes, I think you could pull that off, right? That's what's super important. Amber, hold your thought. When as far as tactical stuff goes, winning the listing, winning the buyers, all of that stuff, I'll give you in a second. But let's just get through the planning. All right. So I gave you the two kind of mathy situations. Now I'm going to give you two more things, and this will be done in a second. So for those of you, by the way, I included this section only because I wanted to have this attraction strategy in here. Attraction, another word for recruiting. I don't really like the word recruiting because you're forcing people to come to you. Attraction, you're actually helping people discover why you're great, which is cool. So if you're thinking about attracting to your team, if you're thinking about attracting to your network, if you're thinking about, building a group of agent attraction kind of as your business plan, this section is for you. So I'll give you this in the next 2 minutes. All right. So the goal is, let's say you're an agent at Real and you have two agents in your front line, right? And your goal for the year is to get to 15. Very reasonable, by the way. Very reasonable. So I would say, okay, if you said, Sharon, what should be my attraction strategy for this? I will give you the attraction strategy, and then you can say which one actually works for you. So the first one I would say is, hey, first, make a list of 20 agents you wanna go after. Like, no list. Who are you going to call? Now you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have anyone to call. Make a list of 20 agents you're going after. The first way I would do that is just look at your Facebook feed and see who you know. Second, you want to learn how to describe Real well. So if that means talking to your sponsor, if that means talking to someone else at Real, if that means, if you like the way I do it, maybe watching one of my Discover Reels, that way you know how to actually describe Real. Because if you don't know how to describe Real, all your meetings are going to go to waste, right? Here's a third. I would do one learning event. And I would do this on Zoom. So literally all you would do is you would get together with 2-3 of your friends. You would put on a learning event on Zoom. You'd say, hey, we're going to talk about the 10 things you need to do to grow your business in 2024, right? You get a couple of different speakers for an hour and a half. You'll have the learning event and people have to register. And then because of that, you build your list based on that. Super simple, right? Here's number 4. If you were not paying attention, let me please pay attention now. The fastest way to win is to co-sponsor. Co-sponsor, I'll pick a number. Co-sponsor 6 agents. If you co-sponsored 6 agents, that roughly means you go from 2 to 5, which helps you unlock tier 2. The most important thing about a co-sponsor is your job is not to close the agent. Your job is not to attract the agent. Your job is just to say, hey, Sharon, I've been following your career and it looks like you're doing a really great job. I can't help but actually wonder why, you have not had a chance to meet my partner at Real, Tamir. Why you've had a chance to meet my partner at Real, Brad. Why you've had a chance to meet my partner at Real, Heather. Why? And literally all you're doing is you're making a connection and you're bringing them into your world to have a co-sponsored conversation. You trying to close stuff on your own, crazy. Don't do that. Because you always want to attract in groups and show the love in groups. If you did nothing else and you're just starting on your attraction journey, I would co-sponsor every one of your next 10. Co-sponsoring is super, super important because now you have 2 support systems. You can see how other people have done it. Like I've done a lot of these calls. Like it's not hard for me because I have a lot of reps. If you've not done a lot of them, you're like, oh, what would they say if they talk about real stock price? What would they say if they talk about personal transactions? What would they say if they have brokerage of 100 people coming over? I don't have a brokerage. I'm not really good to support them. You don't need to know that. You just have to be a connector overall. All right. And last but not least, your goal should be, I would invite 5 agents to rise. So if you did this and this was your attraction strategy for 2024, it's a good attraction strategy, right? Now it makes perfect sense because you have an action plan on what to actually do and go to. All right. So all that said, I'm going to give you a couple of these my commitments. This is like my favorite section. Give you a couple of my commitments and we'll finish off with this. So here's the my commitment section. These are the habits, the rituals, the projects that you put in place that if you do these things, everything gets easier. All right. So the first one is I need an AM, PM routine. because I know that if I don't have a routine, I'm just going to work all the time. I know that. Second, I know that to build a brand, I need daily content. I'm just telling myself, hey, these are my commitments. I'm going to do daily content. All right. Third, hey, I probably need 2 hours per week of skill building. This is where I learn something new. This is where I go on a Zoom like this or webinar like this, and I build my skill, right? Number 4, maybe I need on a monthly basis, if all of you can do this, it would be really helpful. I would do a monthly P&L review. By the way, a P&L is a profit and loss statement. You can't just operate from your bank account. You need to know like what's coming, what's going, how do you actually manage your finances so you can have a good sense of it. If you don't, if there's anything that you do in 2024, if all you do is, even if, by the way, if you even want to talk to my bookkeeper, you want me to introduce you, I'm happy to. Just DM me. They'll give you a report every single month that just auto-generated. You shouldn't have to build it, right? When you have that, you can actually review your monthly P&Ls and know whether you're hitting your goals or not hitting your goals. And last but not least, I do this every week. Plan next week on Friday. I call it the review preview. I review the week and then I plan the next week. I know that if I did these 5 things, I know that I'm going to have a really good 2024 because it has good habits in place overall. All right. So now this is the last part of all of this. I like this anchor, and this is something that I just want to remind myself and remind my team of. And here's what I mean by that. I want to remind myself of this. If you came to Rise, you know that I use this phrase, which is be where your feet are. I just want to tell myself when I'm stuck, when I'm not in a good place, I just need to be where my feet are. And for the team, I just want to keep telling our team, hey, focus is greater than intelligence. So if my team says, Sharon, should we do this or should we do that? I'm like, no, let's just focus. Focus is everything, right? So you may say, all right, Sharon, all of this is interesting. Let me give you, I'm right on time. Let me give you this. I'm going to give you 3 things really quick. You don't need the plan for this. I'm going to give you 3 things on what you should do next. All right. Here's number 1. The first thing you should do is once you finish this off, you should print this and put on your wall. Because once you put it on the wall, it's real. Right? Second, there's a couple of things in here that just need to be calendared. Like anything that is recurring, anything that's meeting that you have to do. Things that are on the calendar are easy to do. And third, I want you to look at the rest of the tasks. Anything that you can do yourself, ask the question, who? Who can help me? These are the 3 big questions you should ask right now, right? Number 1, print it off and put it on your wall. Number 2, calendar all the pieces that need to be calendared and ask who can help me. If you did that, you'd be in a really good place. I don't expect you to have finished this with me, but I just wanted to guide you through this entire process. So I'm going to take a pause. I know there's questions, comments, all of that. Hopefully, was going through that, was it approachable? Just give me a nod. Was it like broadly approachable? You didn't feel like the last thing you want is to give you a business plan that is 27 pages long. By the way, here's a business plan for you. Have you ever sat in an audience? Have you ever sat in an audience where you're sitting there, there's a guru on stage, wherever it is, in whatever event, and they're like, write down your goal for the year, and you write down $400,000. Now put a 0 in front of it. Now it's 4 million. Have you heard that? Serious? That is dumb. Don't ever do that. That makes no sense. You know why? You can expand your thinking in one way doing that, but that is not the way to expand your thinking. Because when you do that, here's what happens. You're looking at that $400,000 a year goal, and you literally don't even have a plan to get to that 400,000. Now you put a 0, which is 4 million. You know what actually happens? It causes you more stress. And that is the difference between a coach-based thinking and an operator-based thinking. I want you to be able to hit your goals. I'm not saying that's not a good exercise. You should do that. That's good for everybody. That's fine. But you can do that to like expand your mind and think through it with people and what you could possibly get to and all of that. But if you don't have the ability to implement on your plans, here's what's going to happen. You'll lose confidence next year by putting the same plan because you're like, man, I put 400. I didn't even hit that. I'm going to reduce my goal again next year. What you want is you want to earn your own self-respect. That's what this planning process is all about. When you can earn your own self-respect by saying, hey, I'm Frosi, I made a goal, I hit the goal, holy crap, this is amazing. I can hit whatever goal I set my mind to. I make another goal, I hit the goal, I have more self-respect. Oh, that's awesome. Let me go do it again. I have more self-respect by doing the things that I said I was going to do. Not the, let me shoot for the moon so I hit the stars. You like stop with the whole crap like that. That's dumb. Don't do that. Because what happens is you're going to then feel like, man, I set this goal and I didn't hit it. So next year I have to set a lower goal. And then you will shortchange yourself. Good? All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause. Questions, if you have a question, thought, comment. Now, I shared a couple of different things like, hey, you should do circle prospecting. You should get a bookkeeper. Maybe there's some of you want a VA company, like all of this other stuff. Let's use some time to like solve that. Anything that you have in your head that you're like, hey, I just want to solve this, like, please raise your hand on this Ask Me Now so that we can talk about it together and get you to solve it. So you wanted one page of my notes. You know what I'll do? I'll actually make this even easier. I'm going to, so hold it. Would it be helpful if I just gave you, if I gave you what I just built? Would that be helpful? Okay, so okay, cool. So please hold on. I'll give you what I just built right now. See how fast I can like do this. One second. All right. So as I'm setting this up, here's your job. Your job is to, if you have a question or a thought or a feeling or something you want to share, please raise your hand and let's actually do that. Drew, give me 1 second, buddy. Okay. So here is my plan. It should be in the chat. You should have exactly what you need overall. All right, good. Drew, go for it, bud.
Thanks, Sharon. Amazing information here. I work mainly with investors. So I've been trying to rack my brain around this. Do we have a playbook or anything like that where I could actually put together, say, an activities map out where we could actually be, actively finding investment properties for our investors?
Okay, this is good. So are you guys open to a little coaching playbook stuff? Can we do this? Okay, let's do this. So what I'm going to do, good question, Drew. I'll actually draw it out for you. Get this. 1 second. So Drew asked a good question. By the way, I believe that every single person should be working with investors. When you think about working with investors, there is, so I'm going to call this investors, investor plan, investor playbook. So to work with investors, there's 3 things that you need to work with investors. Number 1, you need investors. Essentially what this means is you need capital, right? Then you need deal flow, right? And the third, you need your skill, which is in your ability and your plan to actually get more investors and get more deal flow, right? So there's a couple of big pieces to the puzzle. On the deal flow stuff, I'll give you a couple ideas for investors. 1, your existing database probably has in more investors than you need to know. So I would literally write an email to your database saying, hey, I have several real estate investors who have reached out and asked me if I come across investment properties. If you are interested in the same thing, can you just hit reply and I'll put you on my investor deals list. So even if you had 30 people in your database, they'll respond. Now you know which of the 30 are good. I would do the exact same thing on Facebook and Instagram saying, hey, I've had people that have asked me to do this. If you know me and you want to be on my investor deal list, please just DM me and I'll just add you to the deal list. Nothing for you to do, right? That's number 2. Number 3, there are meetup groups in your marketplace. You should look up all investor meetup groups in your marketplace and you should go to them because they probably meet like 1 time a month. And that is the perfect place to exchange information because you have a meetup groups filled with either lenders, deal flow, like wholesalers and creative finance folks and capital partners. This is the fastest way to grow your investor list. All right. Now, as far as deal flow goes, you know how to find them, but I literally would you're the best way you can do this is I would get one property, just one. I would make a analysis of it, and I would send it to every single person that you know. So literally, you take a property that's on the market, you're like, and you do some analysis, and you have the underwriting, and then you send it to. He's like, "Hey, Sharon, I actually put together an analysis for 123 Main Street that actually will give you $1,000 a month in cash flow. Would you like me to send it to you?" Sharon responds, says yes. You send him the analysis. Sharon doesn't respond, saying, "Hey, Sharon, do you like that, or you like me to do something differently?" Now I give you the buy box around it every single time. You don't need to go find investment properties. What you need is you need to get the buy box for each of your investors so that you're in rapport with them. Once you do that, it gets really easy, really fast. Drew, is that helpful?
Yeah, much appreciated.
You got it, man. Awesome. Miss Joshi, you're up.
Hi, Sharon. Thank you so much for everything. It's really, really great. Quick question about the monthly goals broken down into weekly goals. So, we all want to try different things every single month. So how do we start compounding that into our weekly goals?
Can you give me an example?
Yeah. So say if it's like a YouTube strategy and I'm doing Facebook ads and now I want to do door knocking and I want to do open houses, how would you lay that out on a weekly plan?
Yeah, really good. So my favorite thing on doing this is I've realized that if I can't find a chunk of time that where I am going to do the work, or I can't find somebody on my team that wakes up in the morning and does the work, then it's not going to get done. So I'll give you an example. I write 3 emails a week. I write them personally. I don't let my team write them because I like to be connected to my email database. I write all my emails for the next week this Thursday. So this Thursday, I will write all the emails for the next upcoming week. And I have a block of time this generally on Thursdays from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. to do that. If by some chance I don't do that, my block doesn't get canceled. It just gets moved. So I'll move it to Thursday night because I know that if I don't do it, then it's going to stack. So I've realized that if for me to have a continuous compounding effect on my email marketing, I'm going to have to have at least an hour set aside to do that. So either you set aside the hour so you can, that's why you can't do too many things, right? That's why you set aside the chunky hour. Or I'll give you an example for my Instagram stuff, right? I don't do my Instagram. Once a month, my videographer shows up in Orange County. We film for 6 hours. He leaves, and I don't know anything after that. It just gets cut, edited, and posted. Like I manage the comments, but he does all of it. But now I realize that the only way that was going to happen was if I invested in a resource that woke up in the morning and handled it, and it was now his problem. So my suggestion, Baljit, is to figure out, okay, am I willing to do the work? If it is, then can I find a recurring slot on my calendar to do it? If I'm not willing to do the work, can I find another resource that can do it? Once you have those two, I think you can get compounding results.
Right. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, you got it. Miss Diane Needle, how are you?
Hi, Sharon. Wonderful as always listening to you. Thank you for all you do.
You got
So,
it. You got it.
I think the busiest person on this call of over 700, 900 people is you. And I would love to learn how we've been hearing about time blocking ever since I became a real estate agent. And I would love it if you could share a couple of your tips to create those time blocks and focus that has been a constant struggle for me, and how I can also teach other agents to become better with that as they juggle their life and their business.
Yeah, totally. And thank you for asking. Here's what I would offer. I want to show you something. So let me actually show you something. So I actually have something for you, which is kind of fun. And I'll give you some ideas, but I'll show you this first. So this is Real Academy. And if you don't know it, like literally it's real.academy, and you should be able to get into this. And all you want to do is you want to go to, it should show you Sharon's courses. And there's something called the Productivity Playbook. This is I built this program maybe 3-4 years ago, and I gave it to all the companies and founders that we had invested in. I actually kind of did it for my entrepreneurs and the CEOs that I'd invested in. It is a paid course, but when I came to Real, I don't have I'm not selling any of these anymore, but I'm giving it to you all for free. So this is here. All I would do is I would recommend you take a peek at it. It's not complex. It's not long. It's fast, it's easy. And so highly recommend that you take a peek at this because it'll give you some decent kind of tactics overall. Now, let me give you some actual kind of things to do. Thing one, productivity is entirely based on three things. All right. So you need to know these three things. Productivity is based on planning, tools, and rules. Planning, tools, and rules. Planning is if you don't plan, then you won't get that thing done because then everything feels stressful. Tools are the more tools we have, like automation or the right software that we're using or how we organize our files or what have you, it reduces stress significantly. And then rules are very simple things that tell you what to do and what not to do. I'll give you an example. Right, Diane, I have a rule that says no content creation on the weekends. It's just a rule. So my family knows that, my children know that. They know that if, and like me, I always want to, like, I'm always like, hey, what can the next post that I can write? But when I said no content creation on the weekends, it forces me to just put it in a queue so that I don't use the weekend time to just, every time is for everything. I don't do that. So having rules around it is super, super important. So I've realized, and I'll give you a second rule. The second rule for me, and this may be a little foo-foo, but I'll tell you my rule, is it is very difficult for us. I mean, especially like you and Bruce work together. It's very difficult for us to leave work at work and home. It's just hard to do. But if you don't have the separation, it gets very difficult to do. So I'll tell you what I do. I want to share if it's okay with you, I want to share like a vulnerable story with you because I think it's kind of important. I used to drive home every day, and if this connects with you, let me know. As I drive home, I'd pull into the garage, and this was a few years ago, and the garage door would open. And as the garage door opened, my two beautiful children would come running out, right? And they would just bang on the door. They're like, Dad, Dad. And what would I do? I had to squeeze in that last 1 minute call, right? So I'm sitting in the car taking the call, and as my kids are banging on my door, I put up my finger, 1 minute, 1 minute. And I did this over and over. So every time I'd pull in the garage on the driveway, garage door would open. Neil and Lara would come running out. They bang on my door. I would say 1 minute overall. One day, I pulled in the driveway, the garage door opened, and no kids came running out. That was a really sad day because they realized that they knew what I was going to say. I was going to put my finger up and say 1 minute, 1 minute. And that's the day I decided that everything needs to change because the thing that I love the most is that when my kids come running out, I feel so loved. I feel so appreciated. And it just makes me want to do more because I'm sorry, like I'm telling you the truth, like that feeling of love and appreciation was very important to me. And now they feel like they can't trust Dad anymore. Right. So what I do now is I pull in the garage and we have a little olive tree in the front of our house. And I take all the pain, all the projects, all the ideas, my virtual backpack, if you will, and I put it on my olive tree. I'm like, here you go, put it on my olive tree. And I walk in the house. And when I'm in the house, 9 out of 10 times I'm there because I put my stuff on the olive tree. 1 out of 10 times, sure, like it bothers me and I'm thinking about other stuff. But 9 out of 10 times I'm there. When I walk in the garage door, my kids come running or the kitchen door, they came running, they hug me, and I'm totally present. And then when I leave the next day or whenever, I walk out, grab the stuff from the olive tree, put it in my trunk, and off to work I go, right? So and this was a rule. The rule that I just made myself was I'm not taking work inside. When I say, and that's not even true, but because I'm always thinking about it, but at least it figuratively gives me a place to hang up my coat, gives me a place to hang up my projects. And that's been super, super helpful to like think about the world. So planning tools and rules would be number 1. Number 2, look at the productivity playbook. And number 3, just kind of manage your energy when you come in and out of spaces. If that's helpful. Cool. All right. Miss Tamara, you're up.
Hi, Sharon. Don't mind my voice. We're in Michigan.
Well, it's 18 degrees in Michigan, so like you're allowed to be cold.
A little stuffy. So you mentioned something earlier about a CMA project that you recommended. Is it possible you could walk through the framework of that really quick?
Yeah. So let's talk about this very quickly. CMA projects are really fun. Let me tell you the few things you should do and the few things you shouldn't do. All right. Here are the few things you shouldn't do. You shouldn't come up with names for the CMA project that are jargon. Oh, let me give you your home equity analysis. Nobody knows what a home equity analysis is. Even you don't. Like, don't make up stuff that nobody understands, right? Clients don't understand jargon and terminology. Just because you don't want to say CMA, you say home equity analysis. They don't understand that. And here's the problem with that. A confused mind stalls, right? When someone can't understand exactly what you're saying, they instantly go to the next thing. So don't do that. Like, do things that are simple. So you want to, and there's nothing, by the way, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. There's nothing called an evaluation. It is only a valuation. So please don't say home evaluation. That is wrong. That is incorrect. That makes you look dumb. Don't do that, right? It's home valuation. You don't evaluate your house. You value your house, right? This is not like, I'm not going to like soccer tryouts for evaluation, right? So you want to use terms that are easy to understand. So what you want to do, Tamara, is I don't know if there's a CMA service that you use like Cloud CMA or whatever. If you can get one that just does an executive summary, super helpful. If you can do that. If you can just use
that in Cloud CMA, because we do use that, but I've never done a summary.
Yeah, so I think Cloud CMA has like an executive one-page CMA function that it takes a little bit to do, but if you do it for all your private clients in your sphere who you know that they've been living in the house, or any buyer that you've helped, I think it's good. You're just do a one-pager. I'm going to suggest a mail version is better than a digital version, but if you can't do nothing else, you still do a digital version. And here's how you frame it. You don't frame it as, hey, Jessica, I made this, I was thinking about you and I wanted to see what the value of your home would be. Like, you don't do that. What you do instead is you say, hey, Jessica, I was actually running the analysis for several of my clients and many of them live near you. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if I just ran the same analysis for you? I built a one-page home valuation update that I gave my clients that I actually put together for you. Would you like me to send it to you? Now, Jessica will hit reply and say yes, then you send it. You don't just send it. You ask for permission to send it first. They say yes. Now you send it. Now that completes the loop overall. What I would do is I literally would tell the team, hey, I'm going to send out 5 of these emails a day for the next 30 days. You will get through most of your database based on that. Super easy to do. Now, if you can't do a CMA version, I think you can also do a Zillow version. So go to the Zestimate page, print off the Zestimate, or just PDF the Zestimate on that page and saying, hey, Zillow says it's worth. So I've seen the script out there that says, hey, Zillow says that your home is worth $426,000. I have my opinion. I'm curious, what's yours? Have you seen that out there?
Yes.
Okay. Please don't do that. Because let me tell you why. Right? Because if you wrote me a thing that says, hey, I see your home is worth $420,000. I have my opinion. I want to know what's yours. I'm like, who the hell are you? Like, how condescending is it to say, I have my opinion? You better have your opinion. You're a friggin' agent. Instead, what you say is you make it inviting. Hey, I saw this, and it looks like other homes have been selling around this. Have you thought about what your home may be worth? That's easy, right? Hey, do you want us to dial in a much tighter valuation? Hey, do you need the valuation for either tax or estate planning purposes? You have so many ways of asking them what they think without us being condescending and telling them, oh, I have my opinion. Don't ever say that. Because as soon as you say that, that makes it feel like I'm amazing and you're not, right? Small little tweaks in language can completely change how you feel. And the reason is this. A lot of that scripting, I don't know where it came from and I don't care. A lot of that scripting is what I call no accountability scripting. And let me tell you why. Because some random person made up the script, right? And then you get to use that script. And whether it works or doesn't work, it doesn't matter to that random person because they have no accountability on whether it worked or not. And it's making you look bad. I don't want you to look bad. I want you to be inviting. I want it to be soft. I want it to be warm. I want it to feel kind. I want them to cut to the cutter. I want there to be no jargon. The less jargon, the less all of that is the easier to. So I would use the Zillow PDF for the Zestimate or a one-page CMA. But if you're doing it on email, ask for them. I would say, hey, would you like me to send it to you? So have a dialogue before you send it to them. If you're doing it via mail, then I would do 5 a day and just do it directly via mail. But when you do it via mail, you should probably follow up with an email saying, hey, I sent you a one-page valuation that a lot of our clients are using both for tax purposes and estate planning purposes. I just wanted to make sure you got it. Right? Yeah. Now they'll be like, oh, reply, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That was great. And then now you reply, hey, did you take a peek at it? Do you have any questions around it? Or was it in line with what you were thinking? Oh, it's in line with what we're thinking. Awesome. Now you have rapport. Now you can take the conversation anywhere you want. We don't want to make every conversation about trying to get them to list their house. Every marketing piece that you see out there is conversations that is forcing people to try to get them to bait them to list their house or do work with us. You don't want that. That's not what you want. What you want is rapport, because when you have rapport and when you're a trusted advisor, they'll do more than that for you. That's what you want. Sorry, I have like very strong opinions on this.
I love it. Thank
Was
you.
that- Yeah, was that
Sounds
helpful?
great. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
cool. Awesome. Awesome. Brent, you're up, man.
Hey, Sharon, definitely appreciate your time. With the goal setting and everything. The first time I actually did this was back in 2022. It was my first year in real estate, actually, and I had set a goal of 300 GCI. I think it was like 40 houses or so that I wanted to sell, and it sounded crazy because who does that in their first year? But of course, that was a different time of year, and I was able to exceed that. Luckily, with the help of my team and my network of the people that I was with. So it definitely works. It's definitely worth the time. So definitely appreciate that. Just teamed up with TJ, actually, with TJ Cosgrove Group. And here in the Orlando market, we just threw a massive, we called it Realtor Party. It's Brokers Open, a big $15 million listing that we just got. And we had hundreds of attendees there. It was a phenomenal event. Our team really stepped up and did some amazing things. And so we're looking to do very similar events moving forward, ideally with even more agents. Where we're looking for opportunity, I would say, would be in our follow-up process. So, of course, we have our standard, sales CRMs, the way that we normally do things, automated emails, manual calls, things like that, right? But we're looking for something that we can, really hone in on for these types of events, something that's more catered towards that experience. So do you have any recommendations for, I guess, maybe agent attraction follow-up specifically?
Yeah, totally. Great point. So let me summarize what Brant shared for everybody. By the way, TJ is a master of this stuff. They had a big listing, so they kind of blew it up. They made a big party out of it, invited a bunch of agents to it. So now they were able to get in rapport and relationship with all these agents. Now people signed up to come to that. They have a rapport and relationship. Now they're trying to figure out a soft nurturing process to kind of nurture and stay in front of them, so that as and when someone chooses to have the conversation, they raise their hand and have the conversation. Brand, am I conceptually right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So here's how you think about agent attraction. Whenever you want the thing that allows people to want to spend more time with us is goodwill. All right. We should etch that in our memories. The thing that allows people to spend more time with us is goodwill. The way we create goodwill is by using our creativity to create small wins. For example, if you said, "Hey, come to we're doing a role play, scripting role play to convert, I don't know, FISBOs every Friday at 3:00. I'd love to invite you to the call." That's fine. That's interesting. But that's now I, Sharon, have to make time, be there, not feel awkward in your group. Yeah, I might get some skill out of it, but I don't know whether you're going to pitch me, sell me. I don't know. I don't know any of it. Right. So I'm like, cool. Just send. And what would I say? Hey, Brent, just send me the link. I'll see if I can make it. That's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Right. So a lot of times we put people in a position where we create friction and create higher stakes for them to attend. But we're not giving them a quick win. What we want as a quick win is something like this. You would reach out to the agent and follow up and saying, "Hey, Sharon, it was great to see you at the event. Hey, by the way, just a question. Hey, by the way, quick question. Are you actively doing open houses this time of the year?" That's it. Because now it's so broad. Now I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm doing open houses." I'll respond to your email. And you say, "Oh, cool." Because TJ and I were actually looking through this past year, and we put together the 3 scripts that have worked for our team to convert open house buyers the best. Would you like me to send it to you? It's just in a Google Doc. They're like, "Oh my gosh, that would be amazing." And then you literally take your 3 scripts and you just send it to them. Now your goodwill factor is 10x. You're in rapport. You know that they do open houses. And you sent them the scripts. Now, a week later, you can say, "Hey, Sharon, I don't know if you got a chance to get the scripts, but in fact, TJ and I were just talking. We're going to put together like a open house role play. By the way, I don't know if this is even for you, but you're welcome to attend. You don't even have to have your camera on. I'd love for you to see how our team works with this stuff, because the better skill we have, we know more of us. When it's Friday, would you like the link? I don't give them anything. I ask for them to ask me. And then I give them the link. Now it makes sense because now they're like, wait a minute. He asked me whether I like open houses. I said yes. I know he does open houses, which is awesome. He has better skill than me because he has scripts written down. Heck, he does this because he's doing role play. He invited me to it. I'm going to check it out. And even if I don't go check it out, now the goodwill is continuously increasing. So what you want to think about is small ways in which you can keep pumping in goodwill that are easily approachable. Because if it's big and chunky, hey, I made this presentation on the 97 ways that you can grow your business in 2024. No one cares. Because it's not approachable. It's too big. It's too hefty. I don't have 4 hours to sit down and go through that. But if you sent me a Google Doc with the 3 scripts that you use, boom, I can look at it right now and I can put it into play right now. And because of that, Brent and TJ now have goodwill with me. Right. So anytime we're doing something, and it's no different for buyers and sellers, but with agents, we want to be ultra efficient and we want to do a lot of like small back and forth and a lot of like small blips of goodwill. That's when you actually get now by the time, like, I'll tell you one more thing that happens, Brand. Now, let's just say like 14 other firms are talking to them. It doesn't matter because they're like, wait a minute. I'm going to say, Brand invited me to a party. His party was really good. He definitely has high-end listings. They have a great process. They have great skill. They role play. I should at least talk to him. So other people, it's super hard for other people to get into your relationship that way. Is that helpful as you think about it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's something we weren't really looking at. So that's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Awesome. All right. I'm right on time. I went a little long. Questions, thoughts, was this, so are you guys feel like you're in a spot where you can do this with your team and it can actually be helpful? Just like give me a thumbs up or something. Okay, cool. Awesome. Here's what we should do for good measure. Can we like do like a quick Instagram post or something so I feel good about myself that I actually did something that was fun. So let's do this. Let's actually do I'll do my big fat face so you can see it. We'll do the business plan so you can see it. And then you can take a picture of me and yourself at the same time. I don't know how many other faces to make, but I appreciate you guys. Hopefully this is good. There's a selfie thing going on too. That's so good. Awesome. Hey, the reason I'm sharing this is that when you tag me and tag Real, what happens is the algorithm feels like you and I know each other and it shows more of your stuff to me. So just FYI, just tag me, tag Real. If you would like, feel no pressure on any of this. I hope this was helpful to you guys overall. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We will get both the replays, the docs, and all of that set up, and I will send them out because you guys registered. I'll send them all back out to you guys. So here's the couple things I'm going to give you. Number one, I'm going to give you, if you don't like this, here's the fully done business plan, and here is just the thingamajigger of the draft. Cool. And when I send it out, if you think I'm missing something, like, hey, can you include blah, 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 I just reply and then I'll have the team included in all in one page so you guys have access to all of that. Cool. Hey, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being partners with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. So hopefully this is helpful. And for accountability, if you want to send me the plan that you have when it's done, please send it to me. And that'll be our little secret for accountability. I appreciate you guys so much. Have happy holidays. We'll talk to you all very soon. All right.